Hi, my name is Matthew Johnson. I'm a regional ophthalmology recruiter here at ETS Vision. Wanted to share a couple more tips with you to help with your job search. In our last video, we covered some important tips for your face-to-face interview with practices, as well as how to follow up with thank you cards to reinforce a positive first impression. If your face-to-face interview went well, there's a good chance the following tips will come in handy. Number 9, don't be afraid to negotiate. When reviewing an offer from a practice, simply keep in mind the things that are most important to you and stick to those key things. One thing that happens every year is fellows or residents will start comparing offers with their colleagues and find that things may be wildly different. It really comes down to the location, the practice model, and what you'll be doing in a practice as to what the offer may be. For example, compensation ranges may be wildly different depending on the location within the United States. One example is if you're in a low cost of living area, you may tend to have a lower base salary, but these areas also tend to have higher production bonuses and better incentives applied to them as well. If someone's in a more high cost of living area, it may be more important for them to get a good jump start and have a good base salary, but that will also make the incentive and bonus thresholds a little higher as well. Before even entertaining any offers, I consider it a best practice to speak with a recruiter such as myself or my colleagues. One of the things we can do at that point is give you an unbiased opinion on the compensation ranges, the type of practice models, the pros and cons of those practice models, as well as some of the partnership agreements we've seen previously. This can help you when you go into an interview and when you start considering offers, discern better what you may want. Tip number 10, overcommunicate, 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 overcommunicate. Far too many deals fail because candidates and practices don't overcommunicate with each other. Things like vacation, the birth of a child, or a sick family member may be reasons why you're not talking to a practice, or maybe someone at the practice isn't getting back to you. But it's really important that if these things may be potentially coming up, you do anything to let the practice know that you're still interested in their opportunities. Nowadays, pretty much any form of communication is considered professional. It could be a phone call, an email, or even a text message. A text message is something nowadays that you can tell your phone to send, and it's voice to text. So taking those extra few seconds out of your day is a great way to ensure that your deal is not derailed and you don't lose out on an opportunity you're extremely interested in. I can tell you from experience that silence is always perceived as a lack of interest to a practice. I'm not saying you have to call or email them every day or even every other day. What I'm saying is if you haven't heard from them in a week or two and they haven't heard from you, it may be good to send them an email or give them a call just to get a little update. One of the most important things with communication is having the tools to properly communicate. If you have a voicemail that's full, how is a practice supposed to leave you a voicemail? If you have an inbox that's littered with junk mail all the time, you may miss an important email. If you have an overly aggressive spam filter, you may also miss an important email. One solution is if you have an inbox that's inundated with junk mail on a daily basis, or an overly aggressive spam filter, is to set up an entirely new email account to communicate with practices with. This way, none of the emails that are in there will be considered unimportant. You'll know that every single one in that inbox is something that you need to respond to. Lastly, if you're working with a recruiter, it's important to keep them updated on where you are in the process. This can be simply CCing them on an important email that allows them to know where the process is headed. By keeping them up to date where you are in the process, they can be an extra set of eyes and ears on the process. And this way they can leverage their experience making these deals to get you the best options possible.